Good Monday morning to everybody. Well, I hope you're having a great start to your work week. And Ty Firsching and I are here to talk about some great things that we're doing. So before I go on, Ty, do you just want to quickly introduce yourself, and I'll do a little introduction about what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dan. Good to see you again. Just so everybody knows, I'm currently in Uganda. So if the screen freezes, disappears, don't worry, I'll be back on. It's just a momentary glitch in our power or our internet because I'm about 6,000 miles away. So great to have you. It's getting dusk here, so I know it's morning where you are. My name is Ty Firsching. I am the founder of Trade Leadership. I've been around for a while, and I was in the military when I first got out of high school, went into education. Between military and education, I ran a couple nonprofits, and I got out of education, and I've been doing this ever since. So I'm very excited to explain and enhance everybody's leadership skills.
Right on. Thank you, Ty. Well, as Ty just talked about, and you can see from the text associated with this video, Ty and I are collaborating on a project called Enhanced Leadership. And over the years, we've kept in contact. We've known each other for a number of years. And we realized in the last 5 or 6 years, as we've been collaborating personally and professionally, that there's a nexus between what we're doing. And we're collaborating on a book right now called Enhanced Leadership. Working title is Becoming an Enhanced Leader. And this is our first excursion into the LinkedIn Live world, talking about it and to sort of give an introduction of who we are and what we're about. So, as you heard Ty just mention, he's in Uganda right now. And Ty, that's exciting. I'm sort of excited about the fact that you're in Uganda. Here I sit in Madison, Wisconsin, and it could be relatively calm in comparison to where you are and not maybe as exciting, although I do love it. Could you tell us a little bit about life in Uganda and what you're doing there?
Yeah, absolutely. I came here I first arrived in November of 2019, and went back to Colorado, where I'm originally from, and came back again in January of 2020. So I was had a business excursion I was working on, and in March of 2020, I was supposed to fly back to Colorado on a Wednesday, and they closed the airport on a Monday. Now, if you're getting your timeline correct, you realize why the airport was closed. That was because that was the onset of COVID and the world shut down. So instead of taking a Patriot flight home, which they offered me 2 weeks later, I looked and I realized Colorado had 250,000 cases of COVID. Uganda had 7. So instead of jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire, I stayed here, suffered lockdown with everybody here. It was basically martial law. We had to be in by 7. If you weren't, they took you off to jail. And not an issue for me to follow that direction. Not an issue for many people here, because if you know anything about Africa, they deal with crises on a daily basis. They dealt with Ebola 7 to 9 years ago. They deal with tons of deadly diseases and deadly situations. So when they're told to do something, the government tells them to do something. They know it's for their own good, and they actually follow directions. So there was no protesting. I'm not going to do it. We just did it. So we stayed through. The other business fell through, but I fell in love with Uganda as I stayed. I'm right on the shores of Lake Victoria, the second largest lake in the world, only to Lake Superior. The weather's like Hawaii. I got fresh fruit every day, pineapple. Can't get that in Colorado every day, fresh. Not that's been ripening on a boat for 3 weeks. As I was here, I had the chance to hone my leadership philosophy, and I had talked to Dan. I've known Dan for years, way before I even came here. And I've had the opportunity to actually work with some organizations here in dealing with leadership, and they like it. They understand it. And the organizations here, this is a developing country, so they don't get the opportunity to get really first-class service in this area. Nobody's going to come to Uganda and just talk about leadership, like that. It's just not one of the things. So it's kind of a little home for me right now. I plan to come back to the States at some point. I don't know when, probably when the pineapples go away. And then I can't emphasize how honored I am to be hooked up with Dan for all these years, because I don't get a chance to talk to people in America, from America, all the time. So, he's a sounding board. We've been working on this book together, as he had mentioned, and we're finally coming into a place where everything is coming together. And so, again, that's why we're here. So.
Right on. Yeah, I got to point out, we can hear some background noise. And in a previous call several months ago, I asked you about what that noise was. Could you please tell the audience what there's a high-pitched squeal at times behind you. I know what's going on outside your window. Could you tell us what that noise is?
Was that when the children were playing?
Yeah, could you not hear them? You said that last time, like, oh, they're out there all the time, I ignore them. Yeah, it's the kids playing soccer right outside your window.
Yeah, they play soccer right outside. For some reason, my driveway, you can call it my driveway, my little road here, is the place to be, and the place to play football, as they call it. So they're out there. In fact, they're out there now, so you should be able to hear them shortly. They'll be getting
I heard some squealing, so I wanted to make sure the audience knew what that was. But that's
future World Cuppers right outside, so.
That's good to hear. Well, I really appreciate you joining me on this platform, and I look forward to our future collaboration. And it's just exciting what we're doing. So thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you. It's exciting. Really is.
It is. So a little bit about where I am. As I mentioned in the introduction, I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, and I've lived here just over a year now, after having lived in various spots in Wisconsin. And in my military career, we lived out in Massachusetts, lived in Germany, lived in the Republic of Panama. And now my wife and I are settled in Wisconsin. And over the years, Ty and I have collaborated on life and other projects. And then the last several years, we started really honing in on leadership. I wrote my first book a couple of years ago. And once he read it, he saw there was a direct link to what he does with his approach to his personal growth. So Ty, do you just want to talk about real quick what the acronym and what it means? And then I'll take over again.
Yeah, it's funny when you say personal growth. People tend to think, like he's going to have us do yoga or something like that. Totally the opposite. I do Tai Chi. So anyway, I have to. My name's Ty. So
there you go.
Anyway, the acronym is APE, which stands for Active Personal Engagement. And really, there's two parts to it. There's the personal growth development, which is your personal self, which is active personal engagement, to be actively and personally engaged in everything that you do. But then there's a leadership aspect to it, where it gets more in-depth and more, I guess, cerebral or philosophical, you would say, because active personal engagement turns into 3 tenets that we work with. And it's funny, Dan also uses the word tenets in his book, and I use mine. That was not because we collaborated. That was way before. So active personal engagement is active discernment, personal state, and engaged values. That's where I get active personal engagement in the leadership realm. So we go from little ape, which is active personal engagement, to big ape, which is APE, active personal engagement, the acronym. So from that, we have a whole bunch to discuss. And when I read Dan's book, he's absolutely right. I go, Dan, everything that I write about, he covers in his tenets, although he doesn't know he covers it in his tenets. And they're in there, they're embedded. And it was really cool when we started picking apart each other's tenets, right? We were able to see this meshing of ideas, and it just strengthened this leadership program to a well-rounded, enhanced leadership style, where this is the end result when both of these are put together and working in a cohesive manner with each other.
I almost started laughing when you talked about you did it, but you didn't realize you were espousing my tenets embedded in yours, because that's quite honestly, I reflect a lot, and I think about how I just sort of wing it through life. Like, I trust my gut, and a whole lot of thought does not go into what I say or do, because I trust my gut. And I just see things in black and white, even though I know leadership is gray, but to me it seems very black and white. So he just described how, how I approach leadership, where I just do, because I trust my gut. My gut tells me what to do, and I don't have to put a lot of thought into it. But that doesn't mean I got to this spot without putting a lot of the work in. I couldn't have done what I'm doing now as a 20-year-old, as a 30-year-old. And that does not mean that a 20 or 30-year-old can't be a good leader. That just means that I've got the experiences behind me that allows me to have more confidence in my gut. So when it speaks to me, I can grasp it and say, yes, this is the right avenue to take because I've got the experience that makes that gut feeling stronger. So it made me chuckle that you said, well, he did it without even knowing. Yeah, that seems to be the story of my life. So thank you for that. So as I mentioned offhandedly, I think the working title of our book is Becoming an Enhanced Leader with a subtitle of When Ape Ty Meets a Buffalo. Yeah, when an ape meets a buffalo. And if you've paid attention to me over the years or seen my first book, you know that there's a buffalo on the cover and my company's leading like a buffalo. So it ties the ape part of this. I'm the buffalo side of this. And when ape meets a buffalo, you've got a good nexus between the two thought processes and you can become an enhanced leader.
And you actually have a buffalo behind you, Dan. So
I do. I've got one. There's my book. There's the buffalo up there. Oop, it's hard when I'm backwards. There's the logo with the buffalo on it. There's the buffalo on the show. Oop, over here. Right there.
If I had an ape behind me, I'd be a little. If you told me there was an ape behind me, I would be a little bit worried because of where I am.
Right.
You know, like
right.
that. In all seriousness, no, it's a great acronym. I love APE. I love it. It's fun to mix the two animals together.
Right. I hear you. Oh, I've got it on my arm too. Be a buffalo. We're good. So in the future months, we're hopefully going to do this every Monday, roughly around 10:15 Central Standard Time in the United States. It's a little bit later for Ty over there in Uganda, but roughly about that time, we're going to get on here. We're going to talk about enhanced leadership. We're going to talk about our leadership journeys. We're going to talk about where we're going with this. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how you too can be an enhanced leader. And as you can see at the bottom of the screen, we put our emails on there. So if you need either one of us, you'd like to work with us, simply have questions. We're here to serve. And if you have questions, reach out. And if we can help you and answer a question or give you a point of view that you may not have otherwise considered, feel free to reach out. Also, we know leadership is lonely. At times, if you're the executive of your organization, it's difficult to have a sounding board. Like there's nobody at your equivalent in the organizational chart. So maybe we've both been there, done that. I've been in leadership positions, and I know Ty has too, for 30 plus years, not to give our ages away, but for 30 plus years, we've been in leadership positions. So it doesn't mean we're experts. It just means we have approach and we have points of view that may enlighten your quandary and maybe help you solve something. We may give you an idea about something you may not have considered as you approach something. So feel free to reach out if you'd like to work with us. There's our emails. Reach out. You can always connect with us on LinkedIn as well. And again, please stay tuned in the coming months, and we're going to talk more about what we're doing. And hopefully by the end of the year, we're going to have this book out there in the market, and you guys will be able to grow and become enhanced leaders. So, Ty, any parting words for our audience on our first?
I do have something, because we're going to do stuff that no other tandem has done. Is everything we do is we don't script anything. So if you have questions and you want it to be answered live, you can either enter it now or you can wait till the next week and we will answer those questions live on the spot. So think hard of the questions, because if we don't get any questions for you, we're going to Google whatever the hottest leadership topics are. And we're just going to talk about it and how we would approach a certain problem or whatever that issue is at the time. And so there's a lot going on. I know we're politically charged. Doesn't matter. Leadership doesn't leave because of politics. Well, unless you're a politician. Anyway, other than that, we're going to have fun. We're going to do this right. We're going to make it engaging. So
I guess I got one more follow-up. Last week when we talked about how we were going to approach this LinkedIn live broadcast, Ty said, well, it's going to be we're never going to plan it, because just like leadership is never planned, it's off the cuff. So we're going to do the same thing with this LinkedIn Live approach. I don't want to call it a podcast. We're just doing a LinkedIn Live. And hopefully you can get some nuggets of information, because that's how I like to learn. You maybe go to a 3-day conference, and if I can pull a couple nuggets out of that and go back and be a better leader because of it, that's all I hope to do. So hopefully you get a nugget or two each week that you can implement and move forward within your life and become an enhanced leader. And that's what we all strive to do. Our goal is to be better next year at this time than we are now. And it doesn't mean we're bad now. It just means we're going to grow, evolve, and be better next year at this time.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
right on. We are here to serve. Stay tuned for more about enhanced leadership. And if you need us, contact us at the bottom of the screen. In the meantime, we hope you have a great week. Leadership is a difficult task, but I know all of you can do it. You've got the skill set to make this happen. Good luck. You can do this, and have a great week. See ya.
Bye, everyone.